Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Day 9, 8, 9. Day 9. Translation today. Hope everybody's doing good. First of all, thank you to everybody that posted in the flip grid, whether you responded to a teacher or you. Oh, I gotta pause it. Whether you responded to a teacher or you did your own. There's not a whole lot of them, so we're hoping that people are just like waiting to see what happens. And now they're going to get in and do it. I know last night I was like laying in bed on my phone, flipping through, watching them. Brought a lot of joy. And we're getting so many comments from other teachers that did that are loving what you're doing. Are loving it. So make sure you do that. You're brightening. Right? Is that a word? You're making people's days brighter.
All right. Let's do a little roll call this morning. I see Lance, Jake, Connor, Imler, Hannah, Darius, Alexis, Michael Jackson, James, I think, Alexi, Radhika, Abby, Eli, Zuli, pop down to the bottom all of a sudden, geez, Emily, Haley, Alexia, Nicole, Ray, Aiden, Maya, Donald Trump, Big Boy, Abigail. Did I miss any? I think I got most of them. I think I said Lex and Alexis and Alexia. I'm just making sure.
Gladys just popped in.
Thank you.
Reagan just popped in.
Gladys.
Awesome. We're so happy. And like we say every day, we're happy we're here. And you know who else is happy that you're here? All your other teachers are happy that you're here too. And what's becoming a thing now, right? Are you ready for our guest of the day? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stream, Mr. Beichler.
Hey, previous students, how you doing? It's good to be here. I wish we were actually in school, but it's good to be here. And I've been asked to talk a little bit about replication and transcription today. It sounds like that's what you're talking about. So, how are you guys doing? It's weird not hearing any response, but I'm looking,
isn't it?
I'm looking at your live comments here. So,
well, these kids are smart, Mr. Beichler, and since you are well versed in the art of DNA, we thought we would give the question and answer session to you today so they can show off just how wonderful and smart they are. So if you want to ask them a couple questions on that stuff.
All right. What does RNA stand for and spell it correctly?
Love it.
Hi, Reagan.
Yeah, people saying hi to you down there. Yeah.
What's up, Raymond?
Lexi said hi earlier, and Raymond, Zalika, and
Jay.
Matt, yeah.
Wow, cool. Ribonucleic acid. All right. Good job.
That's Eli right there.
Who's wow cool anyway?
That's Eli.
Oh, okay. All right. He's hiding behind that wow cool thing.
Right.
There we go. Ribonucleic acid. We're getting a lot of them now. Good job. Good job. So ribose is a sugar. It's a nucleic acid because it starts in the nucleus. And during transcription, where does it go? Out of the nucleus.
Good question. In general or specifically?
Specifically.
I'm not sure if they know that yet, but we'll see. If they've been paying attention, they should know it.
We're heading to transcription now. Is that the idea?
We're heading to translation now, so
okay.
They need to know.
They need to know where that RNA is. Yeah. Somebody's tired. Already. We just started. There we go. Ribosomes. Good job. Good job.
Who was that first? Was that Aiden? No, Abby Flickinger? No. Maya? No. Wow, cool. I can't keep up with my chat.
I know. We got a lot of ribosomes there. That's good. So we have 3 kinds of RNA that are made during transcription. What are they?
Oh. All 3. I'm liking that you guys are showing Mr. Beichler that we didn't ruin you now that you're at the high school. Well, either that or you're showing him how well he prepared you. I think that's
This is a test, only a test. There, Dominic just joined us. There we go. Abby says mRNA, RNA, and tRNA. I think we're missing, let's see, there we go, the rRNA for wow, cool. There we got all three. Good job. So they are made off the DNA in what process in the nucleus?
I keep thinking I need to get a little recording of like the Jeopardy theme or something.
Yeah, to play something. You could just go silent, right?
There's Kat. I don't know if I saw Kat before, so welcome. And Radhika. I don't know if I saw her name before.
Oh, wow, cool. It's not translation, though. That's pretty close. That's what you're going to be talking about today.
Donald Trump Big Boy said transcription.
There we go. That's it. Transcription is the making of RNA from the DNA, and all three RNA molecules, mRNA, tRNA, and rRNA, are made off of the DNA inside the nucleus. And they're small. DNA is too fat. It can't get out of the nucleus, but RNA is smaller and can go through the nuclear pores out into the cytoplasm, going to the ribosome. So what's one thing that makes RNA so different other than it's single-stranded? What's unique about RNA that makes it different from DNA?
Doesn't it feel good to be asking questions again, Mr. Beichler?
Oh, yes.
You've probably been losing sleep without this ability the last couple of days.
Yeah, for sure. I wish I was hearing the responses, though, but that's okay. I'm seeing them. It's weird not getting that verbal feedback, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so Maya said uracil. Yep, uracil replaces thiamine, Aiden said. Good.
So we've seen uracil now. I wonder if the people that are typing could stop and give us something else. What's another difference? It takes them 10 seconds to hear that after we say it, I think.
Yeah.
So awkward wait time.
There we go. Abigail said ribose. So we got ribose sugar instead of deoxyribose. Good.
Yeah.
So single
sugar
is different. What's that?
Hannah said, the sugar.
Yeah. It's a pretty sweet molecule, don't you think?
Awesome.
Gotta throw in some of those puns there, Mr. Suter.
Got to throw in some of those puns. It would not have been an appearance from Mr. Beichler without a bad pun. He is a very punning person. You want to give him one more question?
Yeah, let's maybe give him a lead in to what you're gonna be. You said today you're gonna be talking about translation.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do a lead into translation. So the messenger RNA is at the ribosome, and tRNA is going to come in with how many letters to match up with the DNA? Every 3 letters. Oh, I just told you. Every 3 letters is a word. So I told you that. Every 3 letters is a word, and the tRNA on one end is going to have the 3-letter code, but the other end is going to bring a what?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, how about that?
And I don't know that we've specifically told them this yet, but
this is a
they
lead.
should know because they know what we're making. We'll give them one more hint. We're making a protein.
Yep.
So if we're making a protein, everybody's saying 3. If we're making a protein, what's on the other end of those 3-letter codes?
So what are the 20 different what make up a protein? And every 3 letters codes for one of them. There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Awesome. So this was quite a. I hope you guys enjoyed having Mr. Beichler stop by. I know I certainly did. Mr. Beichler, this is, I think, the first time we've taught together in several years now, but this used to be something that we would do all the time because Mr. Beichler was over at the high school before Mrs. Smith came over. And so we spent many years teaching this stuff together. So it was kind of a pleasure for me to get to do that with him again. So I think with that, like if you know, you're welcome to hang out. You're welcome to move on down the road. We're certainly happy to have you here.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to, I don't mind. I don't mind hanging out and checking out how Mrs. Smith is going to show translation. I'll be interested in seeing that.
No pressure for her, right?
No pressure. No pressure.
All right. So I think, right. So let's get into translation. I wanted, before Mrs. Smith is going to do the here in a minute. But before she does that, I wanted to get into kind of an overview with you guys. So I'm going to flip my camera over here. I have this little document camera and a piece of paper. So I'm going to go old school here because I can.
You must be doing that for me.
Right. I'm doing that for Mr. Biker. He likes old school. I don't know. I still can't get the lighting on that right. But here's the thing. We're starting in the nucleus, right? So if I just draw a nucleus quick. And what we're talking about, Mr. Beichler is totally correct. We're talking about translation. And more importantly, what we're talking about today is just the idea of protein building. All right, let's make a protein. All right, so we have to do that. And inside the nucleus, we said that we have a piece of DNA. And I never can draw well on these things. But we have this piece of DNA sitting inside the nucleus. And Mr. Breichler, when he was going over the note or going over the questions with you, told you that DNA can't get out of the nucleus.
Hey, Mr. Suter.
Yeah.
Can I see you or see what you're doing? I'm just seeing myself.
Oh, that's because I forgot to hit a button. There we go. Is that better?
Excellent. Yeah.
Here, we can do it like this. I thought we could do it like that. No, we can't. We'll do it like this. All right. So we have this piece of DNA inside the nucleus. It can't get out of the nucleus. So what are we going to do? And so I always relate this and think that, to this about you guys in class. You're sitting in class. You have an urgent message that you need to get to your friend, which 90% of the times isn't really an urgent message and probably shouldn't be taking you away from your work, but it does. How do you get that urgent message out to your friend? You're sitting in my class, Mr. Beichler's class. You're not allowed to leave, but you got to tell your friend something. You know, it's really important that your friend sees a duck-faced picture of you right at that moment. And the way you do that is you send a message. So the nucleus is going to do the same thing, right? It's going to send a message. And Mr. Beichler asked you about that, and he asked you what that process was, and you guys said that process was called transcription. Right? Did I spell it right? So we have transcription happening there. And what I want to point out to you is that part I underlined, right? Like, let me grab a colored pencil and or a pen. Let's do this right here, script. And we've said this before already, that script means to write. And so when you see the word script, you should be thinking writing. So we're going to write a message. We've talked about this. That message is RNA. I just tried to put the marker cap on the pen. That's how confusing it is to do these things. So we're sending that message of RNA out of the nucleus. So I'm going to draw a line. Let's do that. And we're sending messenger RNA out. All right. So everybody's with me, right? We got that. So out in the cytoplasm, probably sitting on the endoplasmic reticulum, we're going to have a ribosome. And that piece of RNA is going to go to that ribosome. Now, what actually is happening there, Mrs. Smith is going to talk about in a little more detail here in a minute. I just want to give the big overview. So we have a message. What do we have to do with that message in order to make it into a protein? And we have to translate it, right? So we have to translate it. And so you guys know what this means, right? Translation. If somebody gives you a message in another language, in Spanish, you got to translate that into English. So we're sending a message out in the DNA code, right? And we have to take that code and we have to translate it into something. And the way we do that is by linking up pieces of tRNA, right? So we have tRNA floating around. I'm going to draw them down here upside down, right? And Mr. Beichler told you there's 3 bases on the tRNA and they're linked to amino acids, right? So we have all these guys kind of like floating around out here in the cytoplasm. We can draw them everywhere we want. Right? That ribosome is going to help line those up in the right order. And when we put them in the right order, we're going to put a bunch of amino acids together. And when we put a bunch, I'll get the attendance form here in a minute when Mrs. Smith starts talking, Zalika. When we put a bunch of amino acids in the right order, what do we get? So I'm going to ask this in the chat. When we put a bunch of amino acids together, we make a what? What are we making? Why I'm waiting for you to tell me. There's the attendance form. Looking for it. Yes. Thank you. We make a protein. So I see like Eli and Madison. So coming out, and we'll build that protein. Mrs. Smith will talk a little bit more about that. We'll build that protein. So we're going to make a protein. So like I said, we wanted to start with like a real 1,000-foot view of this idea that we start with DNA. We have to write a message down through transcription. We send that message out to the cytoplasm. The ribosome reads that message, lines up the right amino acids. Translation happens. We make a protein. The only thing on this thing, this little overview, the only piece of RNA that I didn't label, well, what do we got? I didn't label 2, right? These would be our tRNAs. And this, and a lot of people don't think about it this way, is our rRNA, right? So we have ribosomal RNA, transfer RNA, and we have messenger RNA, right? So that's the 1,000-foot view. So what we want to do now is zoom into that ribosome and see how we make a protein. And Mrs. Smith, I'm going to turn that over to her and let her do that.
Good morning. All right, so the first thing that I want to kind of talk about is, like Mr. Suter said, that you have transcription instead of Mr. Beichler inside of the nucleus. Sorry, hold on one second. Oh, and honey, you need to be a little bit quieter. And so when we're dealing with transcription, we talk about that in terms of writing. So think about how you take letters from the alphabet and you write words. It's kind of the same language. You hear the word translation. Okay, translation. What do you think of? Not even biology, but like when you hear somebody talking about translating, what do you think? Translation.
See, Mr. Beichler, we were all about that old school technology here.
Man, nobody? Chris would be disappointed. Mr. Palmer with languages. Thank you, Hannah, Darius, Radhika. Okay, wow, cool. That's Eli. So translation. Okay, what I think about is that the fact that we are changing languages. Ooh, I'm going to spell that wrong, writing sideways. Okay, we're changing languages. So in translation, we're now going from, if you think about it, this nucleic acid language, which is our monomer that we're talking about for DNA and RNA, and we're translating that in the ribosome over to our protein language. So now we're talking about amino acids. So in transcription, you're writing. When you write words, you're using the letters from the alphabet. From one language to another, you have to think about changing languages. So to kind of help you, because transcription and translation are things that people tend to mix up. So translation is changing languages. So you're now going from the amino acid, or sorry, from the nucleic acid to the protein language. And so it does take place at the ribosome, but I want you to tell me, where is a ribosome? Because we've kind of said it's leaving the nucleus and going to a ribosome. But I want to make sure you can tell me where that ribosome is. And there's actually 2 possibilities. So I'll give you a second to think about it. I didn't mean to leave out Mrs. Quinn. Okay, so cytoplasm is one place, yes.
There we got the other one on the endoplasmic reticulum.
Good, thank you. On the endoplasmic reticulum, which one? Which endoplasmic reticulum?
That's a rough question.
I was going to say that, Mr. Studer, you beat me. You were pretty smooth on that one.
All right, so when we get to the ribosome, whether it is in the cytoplasm and it's a free ribosome or whether it's on the endoplasmic reticulum, okay, we want to talk a little bit about that ribosome first. So first, ribosome, remember, as Mr. Studer said, is basically rRNA. So it's a folded protein, but there's two what we call subunits. Okay, you have a larger subunit at the top and you have a smaller subunit at the bottom, AKA a hamburger. That's what I always think about it, that it looks like a hamburger bun, okay? And when we're talking about a hamburger bun, we have to talk about where the most important part of a hamburger, and that's in the center, right? Talking about how the two subunits of the ribosome are going to assist in the translation of this mRNA. So mRNA is going to kind of come in between your two subunits of your ribosome. And from there, and I'll get into a little bit more detail, you're going to start creating this chain of amino acids. And they're going to come from those tRNAs. Okay, so you're going to essentially start having this chain of amino acids that's going to pair up. And then when you hit a stop codon, when it gets to the point that the message is done, then that will stop this protein. Okay, that protein will leave and it will ultimately be folded and packaged where? Where is that protein ultimately going to be folded and packaged?
So while we're waiting, that ribosomal RNA you said is the pirate RNA, right?
R.
The rRNA.
Okay, now everybody's talking about food and not talking about where it's going.
Well, cool said the Golgi apparatus.
Good, thank you, Eli. Okay, so it's going to head into that ribosome, and at an honors level, you can kind of think about the directionality, okay, that 5' side of the RNA is going to head in first. And then what's going to happen is that we talk about these 3-letter codons, okay? And so if I make a larger, hold on, I'll just flip it for now. If I make a larger, okay, that's coming in here, and then we've got sets of 3s, and I'm going to block it off to kind of represent sets of 3s. You're going to have on the other side a tRNA that is going to pair up. So we call that an anti-codon on the tRNA. So if, for example, this particular piece is being read, so if this on the mRNA is AUC, on the tRNA, you're going to have anti-codon pair. So if I draw my little tRNA here, and here's the amino acid that it pairs with. So down here, you're going to have an anti-codon that's going to pair up. So similarly to how we talked about the complementary strand in DNA, except it's going to be in the RNA language, so it's going to still have the uracil instead of the thymine. And that particular anti-codon is going to pair with a particular amino acid. So essentially,
So it looks like Mrs. Smith froze for a second.
Hey, Mr. I'm going to have to sign out at this time as well. So thanks so much for having me.
Everybody say bye to Mr. Beichler, and we'll see you again.
Sounds good.
All right. So Mrs. Smith has frozen. I don't know if she can still hear me, but if she can, I bet you if she just would reload her screen, maybe we'd get her back. But essentially, she covered what we needed here. But looking at the time, we're 25 minutes in, too. A couple things to think about, guys. That anti-codon thing that we're still in the RNA language. So what we're going to have you do tonight, and we'll see if we get her back and she can finish talking if she had anything else to add. But if she doesn't, in Moodle, oh, here she is. There she is back.
Sorry, internet in these fine times of being at home is just not reliable. And so, oh, Mr. Reichler said goodbye. I missed him. He didn't pop in. I expected him to pop in and keep going. Like we're teamwork.
Right. Well, you're pretty much you got it pretty much covered, right? Do you want to wrap that up real quick?
No, I was just gonna pop over and show the little animation that went over it.
Oh yeah, let's do that quick, and then we'll tell them.
And then we'll pop out of there. So, I don't know if I lost it with my
Computer crash.
Internet. So we're gonna see. Do you have it there?
Yep.
Okay. So essentially, you know what I mean? This is just a nice little animation, and sorry, it lost my place in here, reminding you of DNA to mRNA to protein. And so when the mRNA comes in, this nicely shows those codons. Okay. Again, the A, the P, and the E site, that's an advanced AP level thing. We don't need to talk about that. But you'll see you have an anti-codon on this side that pairs with a specific amino acid. So then the next tRNA will come in and will pair. And so essentially what happens is that each of the tRNAs will come into what they are designating as that A site. And then it's going to slide over as the ribosome kind of translates that information by connecting them. So you'll connect and create a chain of peptides or a chain of amino acids and making a polypeptide chain. And then each tRNA will leave the site and it will be able to then go back and grab another amino acid that is potentially floating in the cytoplasm. So the amino acid or the tRNA can be reused. And so it will continue to read and to translate that information from the mRNA into the protein language, creating a polypeptide chain. And then, like I said, when it gets to the end, it will then have a polypeptide chain that then can be folded into a protein.
So we are going to, if you look in Moodle, there is an assignment called the Translation Worksheet. I'm going to share that. And that worksheet looks like this right now. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. Somebody please help with questions 1 and 2. I don't know if they're talking about this actual worksheet yet or not. But let's just pull that up real quick. So if you look at it, all it's asking you to do, I'm going to mute you 1 second, Lisa. All it's asking you to do is come in. So complementary strand of DNA, right? Complete it. So if this is a C in DNA, the complementary strand, and we're looking at replication here, so we're making new DNA, the complementary strand will be what? C matches with a G. And you're just going to go through and add those. And I'm going to do that first one and just leave it there as an example. Then you come down here to this chart using Chargaff's rule. And we never really called it that. But what I want you to notice, 100%. So your A, T, G, and C should add up to 100%. And since you know the G, you should be able to figure out the C. And from there, figure out the A and the T. Then we come down to transcription practice. So now we're making RNA. The thing to keep in mind, replace that thymine with a uracil. So T goes to A, but A goes to U. All right. And you'll notice that these are color coded. Mrs. Smith has been talking about groups of 3. And so we've started color coding that to remind you things work in groups of 3. All right. So we're going to scroll down. translation practice again, but now we're going to find the amino acids. And so this is where it's going to get a little confusing because you're going to have to use this messenger RNA codon chart. So they're giving you the messenger RNA here, AUG, and you're going to have to figure out the amino acid. So just to help, if you look, it says first base right here. So that means this U, C, and A are my first bases. And if we go up here, we have AUG. So we're going to start in the third row. Then at the top, it says second base. So here's my second base. So what do we have? AU. So we're third row, first column. And then it's AUG, and we can see that down here at the bottom. And you can find that third base over here if you need to. But we can see that down here at the bottom, AUG is met or start. And so I'm just going to come up here and write met. All right, that's the abbreviation for that one. And then if you come down here, we're filling out, double click and just labeling with the things that it has you label. And then some more of that codon practice and going back and forth. This time we're taking you from DNA to mRNA to tRNA and finding the amino acid. I'm going to give you one warning. The chart's posted for you again, but remember the chart says it's messenger RNA. So when you find the amino acid, don't find it off of the tRNA, find it off of the mRNA using the chart. We could make that chart with the DNA code, the mRNA code, the tRNA code. It doesn't matter. That's the trick. And I normally don't warn people about that because I want you to learn that the hard way. Because I almost said when you take the keystone, which you're not doing this year, but we don't know. You might be taking it next year. So if you take the keystone, you're going to have to remember to read the chart to see which code you're supposed to be looking at. And so that's the whole sheet. That really shouldn't take you that long to fill out those. It's just going from A to T or to A to U, back and forth, C to G, G to C. Anything else, Mrs. Smith?
No, I mean, I know that this might seem daunting, and there's a few things in the comments that people are confused, and sorry I cut out. And the main portion that you need to understand at this level is very basic, knowing that it's occurring in the ribosome, that you're going from RNA, from messenger RNA to amino acids, okay, that overview that Mr. Suter talked about, and knowing that you're, how to use a codon chart there. So looking at that mRNA set of 3 codons and then figuring out what would the order of the amino acids be. And then that order is essentially going to make your protein.
So
try to do it a little slowly.
Little confusing, but tomorrow we have set aside to help make it make more sense, and we're going to go over this worksheet. So really important, go over the worksheet tonight, try it out, give it your best shot, and then tomorrow we'll come back in and we'll try and go over that.
And you can always pop in for office hours.
Right. We can always, and nobody's been popping into office hours for me, so I'm not really. It's fallen off my radar to be there every day at 1 o'clock. Send me an email if you want to talk. I'll be happy to talk to you. We'll pull Zoom up. As soon as I get the email, we'll pull it up. We'll get together, figure it out. Donald said when we take the keystone in 14 months. Well, Donald, that's up to you because you get to make those big decisions in your position as the president of the United States. So with that, anything to finish up, Mrs. Smith?
I don't think so.
Stay safe. Wash your hands. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow. Do the flip grid.